Well, hello America. I'm going to do a little overdubbing here. I just took a bunch of film here and I thought, well, when I get to editing, I'll just talk over it. I really wasn't sure what I was going to talk about. After watching this, I decided I'm going to explain the different kinds of places. If you'll notice, we take grain to different places. Sometimes we take it to the co-op, sometimes we take it out to Kirk's farm. On this instance, we're taking it to Cargill over in Waukene, Kansas. Waukene, it's spelled the way it's pronounced. It's right off of I-70. If you want to look on Google Earth, you can find Waukene and then go about 2 miles east of Waukene, north of the interstate, and you'll see this big silo. I'm facing west right now, pulling up to the scale. I'm going to pull up and stop at this sign. The reason you don't pull up to that probe with your tarp closed is because they can poke a hole in it. If they ain't paying attention, they'll pull that probe out and stick it right through your tarp. So you get out and you open your tarp, and this is a mechanical hand crank tarp like they've had for years. Some of the new ones have electric motors on them, and they're push button, easy to operate. And then also the hoppers down where on the bottom, they have motors for the hoppers now too, so making it easy. All right, that little bar there on the left, that blue bar, that is a probe, and then that's a camera right there on that second pole. On the right, there's the LED or the readout. You'll see there's a red dot, and then it'll scan a little card you have in your truck until it shows who you are and everything, and you can make sure that they're registering it correctly inside. That's a probe. It's a big vacuum cleaner that sucks grain down a tube underground over to the building, and then they test it. So they're taking a couple samples right here, sucking a little bit of grain out of there. They'll go into this building here and they'll test it. Then the light turns green and you pull up to the scale. You weigh, and they'll decide where they want you to take it. And on this particular place, there's only 2 places you can take it: unload area 1 or unload area 2, and you'll see that in here in just a second. But we'll pull up here, and that sign on the right has the red dot, as you can see, and it will turn green when I'm ready to roll. Okay, when they're done. Normally that's that other little sign there, that's the scale. It's not working right now, it's just 0. I weigh a lot more than that. Here it turned green. Now I'll pull forward, and if you look, there's another scale on the left there. That's the outbound scale. We'll be using that here shortly. So anyway, I pull in, and I'm going to go all the way around that big pile of grain over toward the elevator. If you look, the elevator's the big concrete silos. That's the elevator. Right beside it, see that metal barn is the 2 big roll-up doors for like trucks to drive in? That's where we're heading. So we're going to go around counterclockwise around this big pile of grain. And people have asked, boy, they don't cover that grain up. What if it rains? Won't it ruin it? No, I was real surprised about this. When it rains, if it rains a lot, it'll hit that grain and it'll just soak right on through all the way to the ground. The wheat really doesn't absorb that much moisture. I was really surprised. Sure, there's a little bit at the bottom that will stay wet and it'll kind of rot, but I'm driving around that big pile of wheat right now. Here's that building I was talking about. There's the big doors. There's unload, pit 1 and pit 2. Well, I have to pull into pit 2. That's where they said to go, and they got the doors closed for pit 1. So these pits are huge. Really, really big pits. They're so big, you'll see here in a second, I can straddle and get both hoppers over the pit and dump them without pulling forward. I can dump both of them at the same time. So I'm looking in my mirror right now, really checking out the lining the pit up so I don't have to move. And I'll jump out here, and of course you guys never see this. I'll move cameras around, so I backed up just a slight bit there. Okay, you didn't see me walk over and position the camera. I cut all that stuff out. You can't really see me on this one because I'm behind that vent tube, but that pit is really big. It'll hold this whole trailer when it's empty and I open up, I can open both pits completely, or both hopper doors all the way open, and it'll pour in there, and it'll hold the whole trailer in one fell swoop here. And that's one of the nice things about Cargill, is that you can do this. It doesn't take hardly any time to unload. It's just what you'll also see here, if you look at the drive tires, look on the very left of the screen, that tire, see how close the tire is to the trailer? I've dumped the airbags on the tractor already from the cab. Now I'm going to open the back bin, and see this little box? There's a little valve in there, and I'm going to watch the tires, the trailer tires and the trailer. See how the trailer's starting to sink down? I'm letting the air out of the air pressure, or out of the air bags. Because if you don't, and you unload all this grain this fast, it just all comes out real fast, and you lose all that weight, your airbags will extend upward, and basically they'll extend so far that they can rip themselves apart. They'll overextend, and they can tear and damage themselves. So anyway, I opened it all the way up, and it's starting to overflow the pit a little bit, so I stopped. I really have lost weight, haven't I? I never get to see this side of me. I need to get some better fitting clothes. I'm going to go ahead and open up the rest of the trap. Open it all the way up. Now I'll pull it out, and I'll put it in the high speed, and I'll close it. It closes at a higher rate. It's a different gear ratio. Get it completely closed, lock it, flip the airbags back full to where they'll air back up, and as you'll watch, the tire and the wheel, or the tire and the trailer, see how the trailer's raising up slowly? Went from about 2 inches to about 5 inches now. Those airbags are re-inflating and leveling out. So anyway, I'm done. I pull forward. The trailer's completely empty now. Now I got to pull back out and get an empty weight. And as you see, I left a little bit of overspill on the ground, and it's just courtesy. It doesn't really make that big a deal, but I'm going to stop here. I'm going to walk back, and I'm going to get the broom. I'm going to sweep that clothes, or sweep the rest of that into the pit. It's just being courteous to the next driver and the people that work there. That's one thing about Cargill. They don't have hardly anybody there. You do all this by yourself. During the middle of the wheat, harvest season, they'll actually have several people working here because trucks are lined up. We're at the very end of the season right here, and there's just hardly any trucks here right now. They probably get, they get trucks through the day, but it's just, you unload so fast here, the line doesn't really get, backed up very much. You go to some of these other places, and the elevators are much older, much slower augers and elevators, and you have to unload much slower. Not that my truck can't unload, it's just their auger can only go so fast, and the pit is only so big. These things were designed back in the 40s and 50s. Not this one, this Cargill one. This is a modern one, and it was probably designed 10-15 years ago. So I'm just pulling back out of the pit there. I'm going to pull right back around to the scale, and I'm going to weigh the truck, and I haven't seen anybody yet. I've been here, and I have not seen one soul. Now, I know there's people in the scale house. They were the ones running the probe and all that. It's just they stay inside. You just never, ever talk to anybody. You come in, you do your deal, and you leave and never see a person. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's kind of like at Walmart, the self-checkout. I don't like it. I like the personal touch. I like to have people having jobs. This automated stuff, I'm just not a big fan of. When you go to Walmart, I want somebody checking the counter, checking me out. At Home Depot and Lowe's, I want somebody checking me out. I don't want to do it myself. For one, it gives them jobs. For two, every time I come up with a head of lettuce or something and it won't weigh, or I don't know what to do with it, and I got to call somebody over anyway. So why not just do it the right way to begin with? Just me being old-fashioned, I guess. So anyway, they're weighing the truck right there, and they gave me the green light. I didn't show that on the screen here, but anyway, they give me the green light. Now I'm going to pull up to this little red, yellow post, and there's a box. And that's where the printout is for your ticket. Pretty simple little thing, but I'd still rather have a person there. So here the camera's going to get shaky. I grabbed the camera to show you what I'm doing here. Fine camera work here, what do you think? Now I can't open the door. Didn't pull it quite right. Alright, there's my ticket. Ta-da! We are done. Alright, now I'm going to go do some cooking. Whee! We got problems. We ain't got no cook. Our cook quit. No, Miss Dina, she had to run to Florida and take the grandkids back to Florida. So yesterday she took off to Denver to get on the airport and go to Florida. So ain't nobody to cook us no food. So I guess I'm cookie today. I'm gonna run down and I'm gonna cook. So this ought to be fun. I'm busy cooking. Shoot, this cooking thing is easy.